Hey everyone, it's Miranda, and today I'm going to be introducing you to my brand new ball python. He is a super black pastel ball python who has a 66% chance of being het for pied. Based on his markings on his belly, I'm going to say there's a pretty good chance that he is going to prove out. I did film the unboxing for when I got him, but unfortunately it was about 5 minutes before I went to work. So what I did is I just kind of threw the camera down and opened him up, and when I reviewed the footage, it was only from my neck up, and unfortunately I'm not able to use it. So instead, I'm just going to talk about my experience buying him and the condition that he was in when I purchased him, because quite frankly, it wasn't good. So the first thing that I noticed when I opened up the box is he was already out. And for those of you who have never received a snake in the mail before, this the box has like styrofoam insulation and usually some sort of cushioning, paper towels, something soft. And then for small snakes, a lot of times breeders will use a deli cup, but in most ball python cases, a snake bag is used. And it's just basically a bag that you put the snake in for transit, which makes sure that it isn't like flopping around in the usually very long distance when it's shipped. So the first thing I noticed is that at first I didn't think that he even had a snake bag. I thought that he was just loose in the box, which would have been really bad. But no, the bag that he was in just wasn't properly closed, so he had somehow slithered out. And maybe this is a common occurrence. I just myself have never experienced it before, so I did think it was a bit weird. And then the second thing that I noticed right off the bat was that his eyes were huge. And I know that super black pastel ball pythons are prone to having bug eyes. However, in the photos that I had received from the seller, he did not have them, which led me to believe that either I initially had thought that this might have been a different animal that I was sent and not the one pictured, but again, when I looked at him closer, I saw that he had stuck, indented eye caps. This basically means that when snakes shed, they shed the skin underneath their eyes as well. So that skin on his eye cap is stuck, and he was dehydrated, so that cap is cracked and indented, and you could really see it. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't good. It was only one eye, but it looked like it was many layers of the same eye. And I have tried removing it. He did get a good chunk of it off, but he is clearly very uncomfortable when there's a moist Q-tip going towards his eye. So he is. I'm pretty sure he will be in shed soon. Really hoping that he's going to get it off then, because other than that, I'm just gonna have to keep messing with his eye, and I don't want to do that. The second thing I noticed was that he had stuck shed all over his nose, which he has since got off. Immediately, I placed him into his quarantine tub with this gigantic bowl of water. He just took this gigantic drink. Like I didn't think he was gonna stop drinking until the bowl was empty, because that's how thirsty he seemed. And that definitely struck me as a little odd. I understand that when snakes are shipped, it is a very stressful process, and they are without heat and water for a while, but I've never ever had a snake do that under any circumstances, which leads me to believe that he either didn't have access to a lot of water or enough water, or possibly and hopefully no water at all. But based on how severely dehydrated he was, I would say there was a good chance that he had not seen water in at least a few days. Typically, I am an extremely kind, understanding, just very nice person who is not confrontational at all, but the state that this snake was in was completely unacceptable. So I did call the seller. We mostly spoke via phone. We didn't email or exchange phone numbers. This was strictly their business phone, I believe. And I called them and I told them that I was very disappointed with the condition that the snake was sent to me, and I was upset that it was not disclosed to me sooner that he had stuck eye caps and that he had stuck shed, and that an animal should never have been shipped or sold in that condition. And they were very apologetic, and I did feel bad because the seller and I, every time that we did speak on the phone, they were always super kind. We had like nice conversations, they had a great sense of humor. So part of me does want to give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe they didn't notice, but then I look back to the photos that I took when I first got him, and there's no way that that could have been overlooked. And the seller, they claimed that you need to get away. So the seller did genuinely seem remorseful and upset with the condition that the snake was in, as well as the fact that I was not satisfied with the transaction. They gave me very basic instructions on how to get rid of the stuck eye caps, which I already knew, and then they used the excuse that since they were in Nevada, that the humidity was very hard to maintain for a ball python, to which I replied with, I live in Maine where it's a frozen tundra 10 months of the year, and I have never had this issue before because I care enough about my animals to make sure that they have proper humidity. They didn't really have a response to that. They again apologized, and their tone did seem very sad and upset. I don't know. Some people, they put on a really good show. Other people feel genuine compassion toward their animals. I'm honestly not sure what this was a case of. Like I said, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I just don't know. So my other issue with that is if this was a less experienced keeper that had bought this snake and they had received him with stuck eye caps and dehydrated, would they have potentially known what to do? Would they have known that this is wrong? Could the seller have just sold the snake in less than perfect condition and passed it off to an, there's so many possibilities, and I guess it's good that it did work out the way that it did. I would just like to say as a disclaimer, I am not considering him to be a rescue. As far as I can tell, he is in perfect condition other than the slight dehydration and the stuck shed and eye caps. He has no sign of mites, of a respiratory infection. He has no signs of any other ailments or illnesses. In fact, he's very, very calm and relaxed. Very good snake so far. So again, I'm not counting him as a rescue. I purchased him for full price, anticipating that he was a completely healthy animal, and that's what I was expecting to receive. On a slightly happier note, I have no idea what to name him. I have no idea what to name him. I've always wanted to have a super black pastel ball python named Galileo, just because for me that just sounds so freaking cool. Like, yeah, Galileo, and it's just this majestic black snake. But then I was listening to a lot of Eminem, and I was like, no, his name is Slim Shady, because you know, Shady, he's a dark snake. So up until a week before I got him, I was actually referring to him as Slim Shady, but then I was replaying Ocarina of Time, and I was just like, oh man, you know, the Requiem for Spirit, the Nocturne of Shadow, both of those songs in the temples are associated with like darker themes, like maybe I should name him Requiem or Nocturne. And honestly, I don't know, I'm probably gonna save both of those names for Mexican black king snakes, I think. I don't know. So at this point, but then my mom suggested that I name him Winkle, Maurice, or Perry, and Julian. And so many people suggested other great names. I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I am definitely partial to Galileo or Slim Shady. But either way, as soon as a name is posted, I'll probably do another video with a name reveal. If anyone has any other name suggestions, feel free to comment below, because I love seeing what you guys come up with, because people are so freaking creative, way more so than I am. So I love seeing people's suggestions and what they think that his name should be. I honestly don't know if I'll decide on a name anytime soon, so that leaves plenty of time for people to suggest their own or tell me which one they like the most. I am also going to show some footage of when I first got Galileo and just how gorgeous he is as a snake. Like, he is beautiful. I honestly, as disappointed as I am with the condition that he came in, he himself is just a beautiful snake, and I love him. He seems really calm. The seller did tell me that he was one of the calmest snakes in their collection, and he was like their go-to when the seller wanted to play with a snake. They would take him out, I guess, which I thought was kind of cute, until I realized that if he was taken out as often as they said, how could you miss stuck eye caps? I just gotta... Alright. Well, I think that'll do it for today's video. So make sure to share, like, leave a comment, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I will see you guys next week, probably with a name reveal for him. And so until then, take care. Bye, guys.